All right, so the SEC just revealed the first half of their revamped schedule. What I mean by that is for part one is that they released the opponents for all the SEC teams. It's pretty much just that they don't have the time and they don't have the date and stuff like that. But they do have the home games. They have the away games. They just haven't formulated that the order for every team about who they're going to be playing against and the time and date about that. So that's something that we're going to figure out probably next week. Yeah, next week. That's when they said they're going to make an announcement of when they're going to form the time and dates and stuff like that and the order of when everyone's going to be playing. But for the most part, for every SEC team, we know who they're going to be playing against. We know what they're going to be playing against. We just don't know the order. So Alabama, of course, that's my team. So I'll talk about Alabama first. They're playing Missouri and Kentucky. Yes, it's Missouri and Kentucky. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little disappointed only because I wanted the Florida Gators. I don't know why, but I really wanted the Florida Gators this year. I kind of want a little bit more of a tougher schedule for Alabama. I know Florida fans or the Florida Gators, they're probably pissed off with that about playing Alabama and Georgia and then LSU in the same schedule. But I really wanted to play against the Florida Gators this year. So hopefully, maybe if we make it to the SC championship game, well, we might see the Florida Gators there. But Missouri and Kentucky, it is. There it is for us. So. Kentucky under Mike Stoops, Kentucky is a pretty good team. They normally win around 7 or 8 games. I think they've established that over the last 2 to 3 seasons. Hopefully, Kentucky continues to improve so they can be challengers for the SEC East. But Kentucky is going to be no pushover, right? They're going to be like Mississippi State when they win about around 6, 7, 8 games a year. They're not going to be any pushover. They're not going to be in Arkansas or Vanderbilt. Missouri's still rebuilding. That's a program that's still rebuilding. The talent is not there yet. So that's a program that's rebuilding. They're probably going to win maybe 2 or 3 games with this SEC schedule. I'm just going to be honest here. I don't really see any top NFL draft prospects coming for Missouri. So I think Missouri's definitely going to. It's more of a rebuilding year for them. So, you know, Georgia's still there for us. So they're not going to cancel that out. Georgia Bulldogs still there for us. We're going to find out if Alabama is going to be playing them the first game of the season or if they're going to push that back and maybe add Kentucky and Missouri if they're going to add those games first before we play Georgia. So that's something that we're going to find out. But obviously Georgia's still there, and then of course the rest of the SEC West with A&M, Auburn, and A&M, Auburn, and then of course LSU. Forgot about LSU, but yeah, of course LSU. Also Tennessee. I forgot to mention Tennessee. That game is still there as well. Obviously, it's an annual rivalry, so they didn't take that off. So Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, and Missouri are going to be the 4 SEC games that Alabama will be playing against. So again, it's going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, but. Yeah, that's pretty much our schedule for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Of course, as being an Alabama fan now, again, is it tougher than it was when USC was there? And of course, those 2 non-conference games that we had, I forgot who we played against, but again, that Alabama was going to wipe the floor off with them anyway. USC, I think USC is going to be a top 25 school. They have a high-powered offense, and I feel like since that was the first game of the year, I think it was going to give Alabama's defense problems. I definitely think it's a little bit tougher with that USC schedule, but then you have to factor in that Alabama had 2 non-conference opponents, and again, I completely forgot who they were playing against. That Alabama, you just knew they were going to win. It was It was going to be an automatic 2 dubs on their schedule. So this time around, even though it is Kentucky and it is Missouri added onto the Alabama schedule, Kentucky's tough. Kentucky's gonna be I think will win, but I think they're gonna be like an Ole Miss, Mississippi State. How they will give Alabama some fits. I don't think they'll win. They'll give Alabama some fits. Missouri is rebuilding, and then of course it is an SEC schedule where they have to play every single week. It is the toughest conference in the country, so Alabama's gonna be a little bit beaten. They're gonna be a little bit bruised compared to going against their non-conference opponent, their 3 non-conference opponents that they had for 2019. So do I think Alabama, with the schedule, will win the West? They're definitely going to be the favorites. It seems like the high-powered teams had the easier schedules. Like Florida, I thought was a winner with their schedule. I thought Georgia was a winner with their schedule, and LSU was a winner. Like the top 4 teams in the SEC seems like they kind of got. I don't like to use the word cupcakes, but that's pretty much what they had. It seems like they had a little bit more of a cupcake type of schedule compared to compared to some of the other teams in the country, some of the other best teams in the country. So, it is what it is, though. Again, Clemson has a little bit of a more easier schedule. Ohio State has a more easier path. So maybe it is fair because, if Alabama playing Florida and then they're all playing each other, and then you got the SEC championship game where a couple of these teams could be playing each other again. It is what it is. I think the only, program that's going to be complaining is going to be Auburn, since they're going to be playing Georgia, Alabama, and LSU in the same schedule. So I think Auburn's going to be the only program that's really going to be complaining about it. But besides that, I think that this is a favorable schedule for Alabama. I think Alabama could potentially win the West with this schedule. Obviously, we're going to find out. But yeah, this is definitely a huge opportunity for Alabama, especially them coming off a year with the whole 19 situation. It definitely was going to be a rough start, but so guess what? Everybody else is going to have a rough start. And Alabama with Kentucky and Missouri, I think it's a little bit. It's just a little bit more easier. It's more room for these guys to kind of breathe, and I don't think it's real panic mode that Alabama's going to have a bad year. Losing 2 or 3 games this year, it could still happen, but I definitely think that with this schedule, it's more favorable for them to win the West. So anyway, guys, let me know how you guys feel about the schedule that Alabama has, or at least the opponents that they have. Obviously, we have to find out about the order and the time and place of when they're going to be playing, when Alabama's going to be playing against these opponents. But again, just let me know how you guys feel about it, and we can definitely hash it out below. So anyway, Jan716, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.